Jesus Christ, guys. Professor Jang, boys. Professor Jang. We got Professor Jang in the cut right now. Y'all already know what the fuck going on. We got Professor Jang in the cut. Professor Jang, take us to school,
So
fam.
now let's talk about how the US dollar conquers the world. So for the longest time, this system works well. Okay, the United States is in competition with the Soviet Union. But over time, the Americans start to abuse this system. So they pay for things they can't really pay for. For example, the war in Vietnam. For example, the space race. For example, something called the Great Society. Okay, they're just spending too much money. Now the countries start to freak.
Right. So you're wondering, okay, how did the Americans are able to spend so much money? It's because when Nixon took them off of the gold standard in 1971, it allowed the Americans to spend and print money, print as much money as they wanted without any sort of regulation, okay, which is what caused them to now be in the what's is over $40 trillion in debt, okay, because you need money to do all these things. People have to be paid to do all these things. So if you can just print money and you take yourself off the gold standard, you have not, essentially you have to have enough money in circulation as there is in gold in your reserve. So once you remove that, it allows you to then inflate the amount of money that you're able to print, right? So that's why they say money's not real. Blah, 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 blah.
So France basically withdraws all its gold from the United States. So in 1971, what Nixon does is say, you know what, here's the secret, guys. We actually don't have enough gold to pay off everyone, okay? So screw this, we're not gonna peg the dollar to gold anymore, okay? Do you understand? You can now no longer redeem your US dollars for gold. It's done, okay? So now what happens is the US dollar becomes a Ponzi scheme, all right? What is a Ponzi scheme? Ponzi scheme is basically the US dollar is valuable because people want to use it. Do you understand? It has no value in itself. It's only valuable because people want to use it. So now Nixon has to go and create demand for the US dollar, right? So the first thing he does is he goes to Saudi Arabia and he creates something called a petrodollar. The idea of the petrodollar is very simple. Saudi Arabia, which is the largest oil exporter in the world, will only accept payment in US dollars. Therefore, if you want oil, you have to have US dollars, okay? That's the first thing that Nixon does. The second thing that Nixon does is actually even more important. What does he do? You guys know? He visits China. Okay? Not only does he visit China, but he's established a framework in which America will give China everything, okay? In the 1980s, what happens? America gives China its market access. Now,
yeah, which is why all the like he's about to say, right? All the US consumer goods went from being manufactured in America to being manufactured in China, which is what then begins the degrade and downfall of American goods, right? Because, and also you're outsourcing a lot of work, right? Instead of things being made in America, they now are made in China, which is things like Schwinn bikes, food products, they're all made in-house, they're all made in America, and then now you put all the manufacturing and plants all the way in China, dude. The Chinese obviously, sure, the labor is cheaper, but so is the quality of the goods, man. It's not, this is why they say things aren't like they used to be, right?
US consumers can buy goods from China. That's a huge deal, guys, okay? That's number one. Number two is America gives China FDI technology education, all right? Imagine what happens. America gives foreign investment to China, gives all this capital to China, gives all this technology to China, right? All these military secrets that America has, it gives to China for free. And not only that, but America educates the Chinese elite. Okay, in the 1980s, all these Chinese students for grad school go to America to learn American technology, okay? And the third thing, and this is the most important, is military protection. All these conflicts that China has with Southeast Asia, with Japan, Vietnam, America will now protect China. When Chinese ships export goods to Europe, Africa, and the United States, the US Navy will not protect these Chinese ships. Okay, do you understand? And you're like, oh my God, America gave China everything. America made China rich. Why would America do that? And there's one answer, and only one answer. It's to make China use US dollars, okay? It's that simple. So now when
Interesting. To force them to use the US dollar. Because the more countries they can get to use their dollar, the more, I guess, valuable the dollar became, right? Because that's why you have most of these countries, their reserve currency is the US dollar. But as of late, a lot of these countries that were using the US as a reserve dollar are removing themselves from using their dollar. Because then it devalues the American dollar if no one has it in their reserve currency, right? As opposed to people holding gold, they say, no, hold the US dollar. But now one said, no, fuck that, dude. We're not doing that. Which is why America is panicking, bro. Which is why the collapse of the West is happening right in front of us.
China trades with the world, it gets US dollars in return. You understand? Okay? And the entire idea is to make the world addicted to US dollars. And now that the world is addicted to US dollars, now that the world depends on US dollars, America can now control the global economy, okay? So in 1991, The Soviet Union collapses. And now America is the only
Berlin
game
Wall,
in town.
boys.
There's no one who can challenge the supremacy of the Americans. And so now what happens is America creates something called the New World Order. The New World Order is based on global trade. But because the United States controls the US dollar, it can now control something called pricing. Pricing just means that the Americans can decide the value of everything, okay? So what America does is create a price hierarchy. So at the very bottom are resources. Above that is manufacturing. Then there's knowledge. And then finance. This is the price hierarchy for the world, all right? And it divides the world into a division of labor, okay? So what is resources? Well, guys, it's Russia, okay? Does that make sense? Russia, Africa, South America. What's manufacturing? China. What's knowledge? Europe. And what is finance? America. Okay? Does that make sense? So what's going to happen is that America is going to take its manufacturing and transfer it to China. Okay? Because it's cheaper for China to do it than for America to do it. And all America is going to do is finance. Okay? What is finance? Finance is just the creation of money for the purpose of creating more money. So this is the system in place. And at first, it sounds great because everyone's making money. Okay? But there are inherent instability in this system. Okay? And we will discuss all this instability throughout the semester. But for the sake of simplicity, let's talk about America. What happens when you focus on finance is that you become a speculative economy. You focus on gambling, okay? Basically gambling. And this leads to something called the 2008 Great Financial Crisis when the American economy collapsed, okay?
Exactly. And I don't know if he's going to go into it, but the result of the 2008 crisis was based because of all the banks were giving away loans to people that essentially couldn't afford them. They were letting poor people have loans, and essentially the market got overextended and then it collapsed, right? It created a bubble. We're giving away what they call subprime mortgages, subprime loans to poor people. Essentially, it's a way to say subprime, something that is prime. If we were looking at things like Optimus Prime is number one, right? Somebody who is subprime would somebody who is like sub-level or subordinate to Optimus Prime. I'm using Optimus Prime as a prime reference, essentially, right? So this allowed poor people and people that clearly they not have the means to pay these things back to just have these loans, right? Because then that puts more money in people in these banks' pockets and investors' pockets because they'll make a shit ton of money through interest. Okay?
And at this time, the entire world economy should have collapsed. And so what happened was, all these central banks from around the world came together in Basel, Switzerland, the Bank of International Settlements, okay? Right? The secretive body in which all economic policies are made. And they decide the only way to save the world is if China spends money. You understand? Why do we have all these skyscrapers? Why are there all these airports? Why are all these high-speed railways? Because China, to save the global economy, decided to invest in infrastructure, okay? And
right. And so China decided to invest in infrastructure, but China also did one other thing that was super intelligent. They didn't just build in their own country. They decided to start building and developing other countries. If you look at a lot of countries in Africa, the Chinese rather, are everywhere. They're building bridges. They're getting all these African countries to take loans out with China so then China can help them create and build infrastructure like roads and different sort of sewage systems. And this allows China then to essentially do the same thing that the Americans did by having all these other different countries in their back pocket because they're going to then make money through interest, right?
World Initiative, and that saved the global economy. Now, after China did this, China developed a lot of debt, okay? And China basically said to the world, listen, we saved the global economy, so we deserve a seat at the table, right? We deserve to be equals to America. And so we're gonna sell our products, our Huawei phones around the world. We're gonna compete with America for global dominance. America said, screw you, okay? And that led, of course, to Donald Trump, 2016, Donald Trump. And the first thing Donald Trump did, of course, was initiate the US-China trade war, right? China wants to be equal to America. America says, nope, screw you, we're gonna destroy you, okay? So America tried to sanction China. America tried to blockade China, okay? So we'll discuss this again later on throughout the semester, okay? Then what happened, of course, is 2022, Russia invades Ukraine, okay? So what Russia is saying is, you know this price hierarchy? Screw this, okay? Because guess what happens, guys? If you don't have any resources, this system doesn't work, okay? Try manufacturing without any resources. Try having knowledge about resources. Try having finance about resources, okay? So when Russia invades Ukraine, it's trying to control the resources of Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine together controls 1/3 of the world's carbohydrates. Africa, the Middle East, starves to death without Russian and Ukrainian grain, okay? Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but it's stupid because a lot of countries in Africa can sustain themselves without needing imports, okay? There's a lot of countries, especially the main country that I can speak of personally is the Congo. The Congo's land is so fertile, bro. You can eat fruit and just throw it on the ground and you come back 2 weeks later and the fruit is starting to sprout. So if they wanted to grow grain, they could grow grain. They can grow anything they wanted. They have a port there. If they wanted to import, if they want to do fishing, they could have a lot of fish running around in the country. So by being someone who's lived in the Congo for a time, the country can be completely self-sufficient, whether it's gems and minerals, oils, food, grain, all these different sort of resources that they think they need imported. They don't. They've just been corrupted to believe so and given these backstreet deals that says, oh, if you let our country import these things into your country, then blah blah, we can cut these your country a deal. But a lot of the politicians and rule makers in the Congo are very corrupt, and so this is why it stops them from being able to think outside of the box and realize that, yo, we don't actually need a handout. We can survive eternally on our own.
So now this entire system is in jeopardy, okay? And so what's happening today is America is fighting to save its game. It's trying to fight to save the system. It's trying to fight to save the US dollar. It's trying to fight to save its hegemony, okay? And Russia and China are trying to exert themselves. So we are in a time of game reset. Game reset. And this is the world that we live in today, okay? All right, so we will discuss this throughout the semester. Any questions? Are you guys clear? So I know this was a lot to take in, but we'll go into the specifics throughout the semester, okay? We'll go and we'll apply the current events to explain why this is happening. Any questions?
So the only purpose of America, like they produce a service for China, is to let them use US dollars, right? So American can use this game to everyone, but I think China does not do the same thing as American, like they created this game. Why?
We'll discuss this throughout the semester, okay? The relationship between China and the United States. So remember that the United States wants China to play this game, but they can't really say to the world, oh, we're doing this because we're greedy and we want China to be subservient to us, okay? So they said that
they can't say it, but that is the game that they are playing. America wants to be number one. America wants to dominate over the world. But slowly over these last couple of years, we are watching the Western civilization completely degrade. Western civilization is one of those civilizations, especially today, where you want to make as much money as possible, and then you want to leave. You need to leave and go somewhere else and go and dump your money and invest in another country, okay? You don't want to stay here because due to the hubris, America is I think in the next couple of years, in the next 5 to 6 years, America will no longer be number one, all right? I hate to say it, but unfortunately, Canada, where I'm at too, we are definitely all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat, guys. We're all falling together. We're all going to have a collapse. We're all going to collapse all at the same time, like friends, like comrades. We will all fall together. All right, what else we got here? That's it. Jang hasn't uploaded a new video yet. All right, Jang. All right,
There's
Jang.
a couple.
Everything is a scam. How do you guys feel about that? Is everything a scam? I don't know about that. Maybe everything is a scam. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I've been lied to believe that everything is not a scam. But I don't think everything is a scam. I think everything just, the quality got worse. Let's find out why.
There's a couple of things that age bad that people universally know. Milk and cheese after a couple of days out fills with mold and all types of bugs. Any man who flies to Turkey and gets a hairline surgery from the cheapest surgeon possible there. Any A-list celebs tweets from 2009 to 2012. But nothing has aged worse this year than my video on how 2026 will heal us. Okay guys, can you stop DMing me and blaming me saying I jinxed this year? How was I supposed to know AI would implement spy systems in all of our governments and Trump would go nuclear mode in the world? Probably should have guessed it, but hold, we still have time. I feel like the more and more the year goes on and future years until it's stopped, every company, and I mean quite literally every company, is going super Kirby swallow mode on every consumer and trying to siphon as much as they can. And no other industry is doing that more than the RAM industry right now. I know, this has been a problem since last year, so some people may be confused why I'm bringing it up like it's a new problem. Well, I'm here to let you know it's getting way worse. For the people who aren't a computer specialist,
okay, it's only going to get worse. The technology sort of, I guess you can call it stronghold that is happening right now is absolutely ridiculous. It's not going to get any better. And right now, you are better off with the current state of the market. You're better off buying and holding on to RAM than you are buying gold or silver. That's how bad the situation is. It's dire, okay? These AI data centers, bro, they need so much hardware, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. So let's just say this. Your next computer purchase that you got to make is going to be an expensive one.
engineer like me. RAM is one of the most critical parts of a computer, and it's like the active workspace of it. The best comparison is it works like the prefrontal lobe of the brain to handle tasks on a computer. It's one of the most important parts to a PC, and depending on how much you have, it can make and break how much your PC can do. And at the start of 2025, it was still pretty normally priced, so people were still building their PCs or upgrading them willy-nilly. In fact, I actually upgraded around that time last year. I upgraded to 128 gigabytes of RAM, which is complete overkill. Most gamers at the most get 32 gigabytes of RAM. I needed a tax write-off, alright? What, did you want to send it to the IRS so it can go right in Netanyahu's bank account? I bought these two kits of 64 gigabytes for a grand total of $205 at the time. And if you wanted the price now, I couldn't tell you because on the Best Buy website, it's completely sold out. Whenever a RAM listing comes up now, people move in like a crowd of rabid monkeys fighting for one banana. But I can tell you on Corsair's website, for one kit of 64 gigabytes, which is half of what I got, it's $524 for the whole thing. Which, keep in mind, is more than double what I paid, or if I got just one kit, would be 5x what I paid. I don't even think the PlayStation 5 at its peak scalping was 5x the normal price. This is a different type of robbery. And all of this is because our AI overlord companies are swooping in and siphoning the RAM all for themselves. Statistically, right now, AI data centers for 2026 have 70% of all RAM production made this year. I didn't know an industry can even take that much away from the public. No wonder all these RAM companies are purely selling to these companies. And it's already a problem itself that people can't build their dream gaming PC after saving up, finally being able to do it. But this time, it isn't just anyone with a PC.
Well, then I guess it's time to pivot, isn't it? It's time to pivot. It's time to stop sitting around in front of the computer and gooning, or sitting in front of the computer and gaming. Listen, if you're going to be sitting in front of your computer or you're going to be sitting in front of your phone, you need to be making money off of it, bro. Because there's no other reason why we need to be out here as the youth and generation of our time wasting it. There's bombs coming, bro. There's bombs on the way. The bombs are coming, and all you guys want to do is goon and fap and goon. Come on, gobbler stars. You guys want to be a bunch of gobbler stars? Give all the RAM to the girls, the OF girls, bro, so they can continue to post their nudies. Yuck.
Affected. It's the whole goddamn gaming industry. The Steam Deck, which is supposed to be the budget option of someone who doesn't want a PC but wants to play PC games, has been cooked because of RAM and sold out everywhere. Your only choice now is to either get it for double the price or wait for the price of it to magically fall. This is why you got people out there praying to God like Venom in Spider-Man 3 on AI's downfall. Valve was also supposed to release the Steam Machine, which is another alternative for people who don't want to buy a full gaming PC. Well, now that's gotten delayed because they can't get RAM for the system. And of course, you got the classic PlayStation 6, which we're now approaching 6.
What is that thing? What is that? Not a real photo, by the way. I would hope so, because that looks hideous.
Years since the original PlayStation 5 launch date. So Sony is supposed to be in the process of preparing and releasing the next console within a year or two. And that's no longer happening because AI is taking all the RAM so they can't buy it. These AI companies are moving like Sid from Toy Story. They're putting down these other multi-billion-dollar companies like they're peasants. As much as we can blame these AI companies for doing this, the main culprits are the RAM producers themselves. They're choosing to sell these massive bulks of RAM to these companies because it's easy money instantly. As long as these AI companies keep building data centers, they're gonna keep doing it, so there's not much we can do. I'd love to say Gen Z will stand up to the
Check this. Aside from the gold on the edging of the RAM sticks, what really is the issue of creating more RAM? Can we take a second just to talk about that? What is really stopping people from just making more? Right? Oh, yes, I know, I understand the cost of production, the cost of shipping and warehousing and storage of all these chips, but what is really stopping them from just making more? As opposed to just having a limited supply and then the supply and demand doesn't match up, so that's why everything is so expensive. But if you ramp up production, then there'll be a slight price increase, but it won't be 5x. You know, I'm not an economist, echo man.
Security and stop these corrupt organizations for selling out things rightfully belonging to the public. But we can't even agree which colors belong to which textbook subject in school, so that's not happening. By the way, math is blue, history is yellow, English is red, science is green, and art is purple. If you want to argue—
Who said that, bro? Math is red. Math is red. Math is the red duotang. That's what you do math in.
with me, no problem. You'll be instantly banned from all my socials. Of course, we also got housing crisis now, which is a given. Not only in America, but in nearly every Western country, housing has reached historic levels of being unaffordable. Right now in the US, the median home price is 3.5 to 7.1 times the median yearly income. And the UK, it's worse. It's 9 times the average income, which is insane. And at least in America, if you spend, I don't know, $1 million bucks, you could get—
Yes, this is true. The housing market has completely tanked in a state where people, millennials and old and younger, so I guess millennials and people like Gen Z and Gen Alpha and all these things. I don't even know if Gen Alpha is even thinking about buying a house. But just keep in mind that people in our age group, we're not even able to afford a house. Okay, most Gen Z kids have over $90,000 in debt from school. How are you gonna go to school, get $90,000 worth of debt, and then come out and say, "Yo, I'm thinking of buying a house"? Yeah. That's a lie. You can't. Not anymore. Not in this market. This market is cooked. Okay. The majority of you guys are walking around here with empty pockets, empty minds. All right. Gen Z, let alone, can't even have a conversation. How are they gonna buy a house? Okay. And the rent prices are ridiculous. It depends on where you live. If you live in a major city, it's always going to be expensive, but now it's more expensive than ever. You got studio apartments starting at about $1,000. You have a 1-bedroom apartment, $1,500, okay? And in most places, the minimum wage is around like $14, $15, okay? So what are you doing? You're just working to live? You're just in survival mode? What a time to be alive, guys.
A decent sized house with a good space to live in with a family. And the UK, for that same price, you're lucky to find a 500 square foot shed. And it just goes on and on for how bad the prices are. Also, for any millennials that try to say this ain't nothing for us and they had it harder back in 2008, experts are now officially saying the US housing market in 2026 is worse than 2008. So don't try to go trauma to trauma with this anymore. Worse housing market, 10x more the shootings, we go into war, beat that. I don't know why I'm saying that like it's a flex. It's actually very serious problems. COVID did really ruin everything, boys. Because ever since the housing hike, prices have gone down for houses, but you know there's always those people that keep them high and leave it like that, which I think is what's gonna happen for RAM. If there's one thing companies like to do, it's stealing from the public without them figuring out it's a scam, and we just live the rest of our lives assuming it should actually cost that much even though they're making like 10x the profit on it. I remember after the peak of COVID was over, there was so many grocery stores that kept their prices up just because. The good thing is, guys, our federal administration is working hard to bring these prices down and help everyone achieve their goal of owning a home one day.
There's so much talk about, we're gonna drive housing prices down. I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up.
You heard it first, bro, from the demon himself.
For people that own their homes, and they can be assured that's what's gonna happen.
Well, guys, at least we can rent a $2,000 1-bedroom apartment for the next 60 years of our lives, and maybe we'll be able to get one by the time we're 70. It's a good thing our country funds another country that gets free healthcare and schooling for everyone. This is all okay. You already know things like how unaffordable it is, but seeing clips like that is the cherry on top. And even if you did find a home in your budget in 2026 that you think you could afford, the interest rate is still not that good at 6%. If you got a home in January 2021, the interest rate would have been 2.6%, basically in half. This specific interest rate was an anomaly due to COVID, so they had to do that. But if you look back before then, in 2016 to 2020, it bounced between 3 to 4%. So before COVID, it was still 2 percentage points lower than it is now. The good news is, though, guys, that for the next couple of decades of our lifetime, multiple finance companies have predicted that the rate is going to stay around the same or get worse in the future. Imagine you just locked in when you were a kid and bought a house back then, loser. Instead of, I don't know, being a stupid kid or teen. Maybe you should have been smart for once in your life and invested. I'm saying that as a joke, but that's dead ass how older generations think. Okay, I'll try to soften it with some actual good news. There is some cities and some places where housing prices are slowly dropping for people. The main
Yeah, well, it all depends, all relative, bro, man. But at the end of the day, you can't really sit there and complain about everything. That's not the best thing to do. You get what you get, right? Life is what you make of it. Life is how you look at everything. So if you're gonna sit there and complain about everything is so expensive, well, bro, you just gotta level up. Now more than ever, you gotta be leveled up. More than ever, hypergamy is at an all-time high. Shorties don't want you if you're not a winner. So what's the point, dude? Might as well just level up instead of crying about everything. And you know what's the worst thing about all this is that they already told us this. I think it was 2020. They had said, what? You will own nothing and you'll be happy. What kind of slogan is that? Does that beat the Obama presidential slogan? No, it doesn't. It's actually really terrible. But that's the situation we've been put in. If a company is going to raise its prices, do you think it's ever going to decrease its prices? No. When I was running my animation studio, when I increased prices, do you think I brought the prices down? No. Prices go up, the prices stay up. Yesterday's price is not today's price, as Fat Joe once told us. The worst part about everything is the subscription services that are just wild right now. I got a homie that told me that he had bought a BMW, right? He had bought a BMW and the heated seats. The heated seats in the car were on a subscription service. He had to pay $15 for the heated seats to be able to be turned on in his car. Mind you, the car came with that. It was a feature of the car. He had bought the fully loaded vehicle, right? And then now they're telling him, if you want your heated seats to work, you got to pay us $14.99. What is that?
place being Texas, which is why everyone and their mother is moving here. Texas is absurdly massive, so they basically have unlimited land to play with, although you do also risk unlimited gunshots being shot at you at any moment. Another scam getting worse is Ticketmaster and most ticket-selling websites now, to be honest, which have been scummy companies for a while now. In fact, both the last and current government administration.
Yeah, first of all, Ticketmaster is their parents' company, Live Nation. They're under investigation for antitrust laws because they have too many companies under the roof. They have Ticketmaster, which is in charge of the tickets. They have Live Nation, and then Live Nation owns a lot of venues, right? So they essentially have a monopoly on the entire sort of venue and live entertainment scene. So they're under investigation for antitrust laws right now.
Are suing them. I mean, you know it's bad when even a like Trump is suing you for being a scammer. He usually wants to join in on the fun. They got caught themselves trying to help scammers jack up prices because once again with these companies, just like what I said for RAM companies, if they have a guaranteed way to make their money and can sell in bulk, they'll do it. It's also gotten even worse with dynamic pricing. If Satan came to this earth now, I believe dynamic pricing would be his first creation. All these ticket companies try to justify it by saying it helps combat scalpers. So their solution is instead of having the scalpers buy the tickets, everyone can buy it but for 10x the price. Either way, I can't go in either scenario. I'm not buying it for the scalp price or that price, so what is the point of even doing this? There's a lot of artists too that have to get blamed for this as well. The reason I say that is because a lot of them try to act oblivious and go to the public like, no way guys, what? I just want everyone to be able to enjoy my show at a great price and have a good time. Companies should not be taking advantage of this. Meanwhile, after the show, they look at their bank account and are like, those stupid ass, they really believe me. 3 million in a night, let's go. I'm buying another Rolls Royce and putting it in the garage. This is too easy. Whenever you see an artist try to act like they don't know why it's so high and it stays high, just know they know because something can be done. Michael Jackson notoriously was known for selling his tickets for cheap because he wanted fans to actually be able to come. And Taylor Swift, as much as we make jokes about her and she does have her own flaws, gets my respect because she chose not to use dynamic pricing so fans can enjoy her show. One of the worst culprits of it this year is FIFA for the 2026 World Cup. FIFA's already been known as a pretty scummy company when it comes to its consumers. For the first time in history, this World Cup, they decided to use dynamic pricing. And let's just say,
good luck to anybody who can afford this shit.
World Cup prices from 2022 to 2026 have increased over 1,000% for tickets.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. This is all about for the Goyim. Shout out to the Goyim, dude. Shout out to us, the Goys, the non-nons from the chosen. We're the non-chosen ones. All I'm saying, guys, all you gotta do is level up. That's the only thing we can do. Everything else is a lie. Everything else is BS. All we can do now is level up. Try to level up as much as possible, because if you don't level up, well, sorry, kid, but it's not looking too good for you. It's not looking too good for these kids out here, guys. What do we do? All right, let's conclude our stream with these. One second. Let's check out this video real quick. Okay, guys. So, Empire falls. So we don't want the Empire to be a little bit careful with making content now. Trying to live. Oh, I remember this video. It's old. I already posted it on my other channel, my vlog channel.
John saying you didn't.
Is this an 18-minute video about Jack Harlow being black now? Oh, God. All right. I don't think we need to watch all 18 minutes of it, but let's get into it. Jack Harlow thinks he's one of us.
And retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, you arguably went deeper into black music.
Yeah. Oh, Here we go again.
Mac Miller would never.
I got blacker.
Go get your ass out of here with your Eminem would never.
If you feel a nigga, holla back.
Bobby Caldwell would never. John B.
They don't know about this shit.
Would never.
I got blacker.
Oh my goodness. Please tell me this Jack Harlow experience is almost up. Now listen, I'm not gonna lie. About a month ago when Jack Harlow started to announce this Monica album, I brainstormed a video in my head, and it was basically Jack Harlow was on the clock, because when he announced the name of the album, Monica, I started to scratch my head.
My name is Zach, and everybody there call me Monica. Yo, what's up, Monica? If you're white and you don't get it, you don't have any black friends. If you're white, next to a black person who doesn't get it, you can't explain it. Why Monica? Well,
now that is a joke that we all heard on the internet before, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen that video before, but it's got a lot of views on multiple platforms. You might have stumbled across it. But not only that,
I've never seen this video. Am I out of the loop? Am I unk? Am I unk now, guys? You guys, I think I might have reached unk status. This is not acceptable.
That we know the Monica joke. Unfortunately for Jack Harlow, he is fair skinned, and we looking at y'all a little funny. Not gonna lie, we didn't seen this experiment before. We didn't seen this before. So anybody that's light bright and fair skinned and you coming into hip hop, you're gonna have a microscope on you because we just seen we're still seeing the Post Malone thing. Black history is still happening. MTV didn't want.
Yeah, but you guys, you know what I always find really stupid is like, how can the black culture really just hold down hip hop as their own thing? Sure, we started it, okay? But does that mean that we have to gatekeep it? Don't we then turn around and get mad at the others for gatekeeping their sort of things as well, their cultures and their things that they have, and then being like, "Oh, why are you guys doing this? Why are you oppressing us?" You know what I mean? This idea of cultural and musical segregation, is that really the thing? Shouldn't we just accept everyone for making music? Now, mind you, most music genres, the majority of music genres were started by black culture, okay? Whether it comes to rock, jazz, even country music, that belongs to us. All of it is ours. They took it. So now what? We have the last stronghold is hip hop. Hip hop isn't even that interesting of a genre, okay? As much as I do like hip hop, it's like the last thing I want to do, and the one thing that I hate is that one dude who's always listening to hip hop and music early in the morning, bro. Like, bro, niggas got no brain cells.
Michael Jackson on TV. America has never not been racist. We watching y'all. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. It's not us. We just watching what y'all do because, yeah, we've seen this Post Malone thing before. We've seen the Miley Cyrus thing before. We've seen the Kid Rock thing, right? We've seen people come use hip hop. We literally have MAGA rappers right now. We have MAGA rappers right now who have tattoos on their face. We got that now. So Jack Harlow, we definitely looking at you funny because you ain't doing that, right? Like, you ain't doing that, but you doing this.
Gotta save it this time.
Yeah, but the track is nice though.
I gotta save in my mind.
Jack Harlow released an R&B album, and when he announced the name of the album and he did these little snippets.
I can't see you with a white woman.
Yeah, I can't see you with one either.
Really? Yeah, my brother.
Never seen you with one.
I was like, all right, this man's on the clock. But I scrapped that video because when I did it, it was like 5 minutes of me just straight hating. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give him some time and let's see how this album is gonna be, and then we'll give him a video. Because honestly, like I said, any white rapper, if you're a white rapper, we watching you. I'm gonna look at you funny because what are you here for? What are your intentions? I'm sorry, these Jack.
This is what I'm saying, dude. This just the idea and concept behind this video. It's so close-minded. What? Why do we need to be like, oh, if you're white, you're under the clock. Under the clock of what? Under the guise of what? Under what geyser? Under what guise? Guy. I got a guy. I'm a guy's guy. Pause. No, but who are we to say who's allowed to come into hip hop and make a name in it? So the non-coloreds, they're the ones who have to be under the clock. But if Spanish or Asian culture or indie culture, they come in and they make rap music, then it's okay. But once again, this idea of cultural segregation and essentially mental and conscious segregation is so stupid to me. It's like anyone should be allowed to do anything. That's what it will allow us all to band together and not have these interjecting ideas about people need to be in their own corner or their own lane. What are you guys talking about? Then if this is the case, then we should talk about the subgenre that is what Asian artists who are making what Afro beats, Afro music, Asian artists that are making Jamaican music. What do we say about them? They just get a free pass? I'm saying this is such a stupid topic that could just divulge and fall into some abyss of eventually just no one allowed to do anything. This is a dumb topic of discussion, bro. You're gonna hate on the guy for making black music because he made an R&B project? Jeez, what a stupid conversation.
Harlow's living off the sins of Post Malone. I'm gonna keep it real with you. He's living off those sins of Kid Rock. I'm sorry. It's very rare that we get an Eminem. It's very rare that we get a Mac Miller. It's very rare that we get a Macklemore who actually respect this culture and isn't trying to get popular. With Jack Harlow doing this kind of switch so early on in his career, for one, it reminded me of the Divine Feminine. Jack Harlow himself during this interview, where we're not gonna talk about the I got blacker thing because I get what he was trying to say. He should have said I went into more black roots, right? Like he shouldn't have said I got blacker, right? Like he should have said I dived more into black culture. I dived more into black art. I dived more into black music. He could have said so many other things. So we're not gonna beat him up for that. But during that interview, interview, he said that early on in his career, he was following mostly Drake.
You were on a very Drake path for a while.
Yeah, School of Drake, absolutely. As I've gotten older, I've become more concerned with finding my voice and finding the way I want to move as an artist.
I think that is the worst foundations you can actually have as an artist, especially today. So the fact that he's doing these switches and doing these things, and even though he said he dived more into, you know, finding himself and finding his voice and trying to go more into the artistry, I don't think he has the cachet. I don't think he has the love. I don't think he has the interest in the art, in the hard part of the art that you have to understand and you have to go do like a Mac Miller.
I think I was so determined.
What is this guy talking about, dude? Has he listened to old Jack Harlow? Old Jack Harlow is nothing but straight bars. Pause. Nothing but straight bars. Obviously, it's somebody who understands what it means to have a good pen. Before even following the school of Drake, he was following just the school of what it means to just be like a kid who can actually spit. Yes, the tracks before on his come up, they weren't the most, I guess you can say, mainstream friendly. But then again, I don't think that that's what he was really aiming for. He was just aiming to be, I'm going to be a good rapper. I'm going to be a decent lyricist. And then as things started to progress, he started saying that, okay, well, maybe this idea of being a good rapper and a good lyricist isn't going to pay the bills. I need to find a way to make these strong ideas more dumbed down. And hence why he went with the school of Drake. An artist also that was similar to this ideology is Lupe Fiasco. Lupe Fiasco, what's the song that he has that Jay-Z told him to do? Dumb It Down, right? He's essentially talking about how his ideas and concepts for music were too high level, that it was going over people's heads. Because at the end of the day, it's true, most people are stupid. But look what happened to Lupe Fiasco when he went too mainstream. Everybody said, no, this isn't going to cut. We don't like this kind of Lupe. And then ever since then, Lupe fell off. So is Jack Harlow going to fall off? I don't know, man. I like Jack, but maybe he's already fallen off, you know?
To achieve a certain thing and land in a certain place that maybe the spot I wanted to land in my head wasn't as nuanced as it is now.
All the concerns that I had with Jack Harlow is presenting itself. This is the reason why I was such a big fan of Mac Miller. Everything I see in Jack Harlow is everything that I saw originally in Mac, and Mac made a switch, and a convincing switch. I don't think this is a convincing enough switch. I don't know if this is a pop.
How does he have to convince you? What I'm not understanding that. Mac Miller, perfect example. You're going to say he's stealing from black culture? Little Peep. You're going to say they're stealing from black culture? It's this conversation. This is why when it comes to, like, I'm sorry, but when it comes to black Americans, bro, like y'all have such a low IQ, bro. Like I'm sorry, but
Popular move, but it just doesn't feel like a genuine, like, ooh, I like this, right? It just all felt wrong. The rollout, even the joking of like, I like black girls, like I couldn't see you without a black woman, like the whole everything to this was very just like, I'm not feeling it. But yeah, this is about everything I expected from the kids.
So I think early in my career, I was split between, do I want to be an entertainer or artist? Do I want to be a celebrity or artist? I have now chosen artist.
His first thing was like Kentucky Fried Chicken.
There's no secret down here that blacks and chickens are quite fond of one another.
It was just everything about what he is going to be within our culture just didn't make sense. So we're just waiting for the switch. We know the switch is going to come. I feel as though this is R&B, neo soul, like this is R&B. Oh, so you're already stepping over this way. If it was genuine, like with my least favorite Mac Miller album at the time of it coming out, it was like Blue Slide Park and then the Divine Feminine. As I got older and I went back to the Divine Feminine, I loved it, and it made so much sense for a lot of the melodic melodies that I got on Swimming and what I got on Circles and where he was going later. Coming from Blue Slide Park to watching movies with a sound off to then Good AM. Oh my goodness. I think that's one of the best runs in music. Watching movies with a sound off, Good AM, and then I think the Divine Feminine was next. I think that was a crazy 3-pack, and then Swimming, Mac Miller was different. And so I don't see that in Jack Harlow. Now the kid is young. Will he go and transcend? Yes. Should I maybe listen to this R&B album? Maybe. I just don't see the need for me to give him.
So the nigga hasn't even listened to the project, and then he's gonna make a full video clowning. Bro, stop. Stop it. You niggas, bro, stop it. Y'all love to waste time, bro. Y'all love to waste people's time. I don't like that. I don't like that, bro. Like, you're gonna make this 20-minute video, you haven't even listened to the project, you're just clowning the guy? What kind of stupid, what is that? What is that, bro? Your opinions aren't valid then. Your opinions are not valid. Actually go and listen to the album, bro. Go and listen to the album. Go and listen to the album, and then you can sit there and say, oh, it wasn't what it was supposed to be. Okay, fine. But you can't sit there and do that when you haven't even listened to the album. That's the craziest, like, that's Take, bro. All right, 1 second.
Annoying ass kid.
This is a 5-minute video. All right, cool. Let's get it. It's like this Rio, whatever. Essentially, Cali, bro, my mind, bro. It's melting. You guys are adding all this added stress, pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. Cortisol makes diamonds. All right, so the replacement for Caribou. Let's find out what she's all about.
Annoying ass kids.
If you're like me, you've been seeing this girl all around your timeline, and you've probably been thinking the same thing. Who is she? How did she become one of the newest members of the Concrete Boys? And how did she sell out her first ever headlining show in LA? Well, this is Rio Amor, an up-and-coming LA-based DJ who's been making a name for...
Oh, so she's a DJ. So they said, hey, if you're going to be in the group, you can't be a rapper because I don't want to rap. I don't want to spit and write lines for you, said Lil Yachty. And so she said, oh, you're a DJ? Come on in. You can be behind us. Behind every great Little Yachty is a strong woman. Something like that, right?
Herself in the music scene. And while it's only recently that she's had a spike in popularity, Rio's actually been DJing professionally since she was 14 years old.
How long you been DJing?
Oh.
I've been professionally DJing since I was 14.
So you started off as a kid. Still a kid.
Her dad, Corey Scoffern, is a rapper and producer who goes by the stage name The Grouch, who on top of...
What?
of having a solo career is also a part of the rap group Living Legends, which is kind of funny considering how now Rio is in her own rap group, but more on that later. It's safe to say that music played a big role in Rio's life from an early age, and you can even catch Rio in a few of her dad's older music videos. Her exposure to her dad's music most likely played a major role in her future career as a DJ. Now, this is where it gets tricky because beyond that, there isn't much information on her come up. It was pretty hard doing research for this video considering how fast she's gaining popularity, so there aren't very many interviews or articles on her yet, but this is my theory on how it most likely went down. On July 14th,
this is a theory video?
2022, Rio is seen modeling for the brand Golf for the first time, most likely being around 14 or 15 here, which is around the time she first started DJing professionally. Now, her involvement with Golf could have factored into her first major appearance as a DJ, which was at Camp Flog Gnaw 2023. Seeing as Golf falls under that Tyler the Creator umbrella, it's more than likely that she made some connections there that led to her DJing for the San Francisco East Bay Collective, AG Club, that year. This performance stood out above the rest as one of the best sets of the festival that year, due to the high energy nature of the set, as well as Rio's work as DJ/hype man. After this performance, she opened the festival up the following year with her very own solo DJ set, where she had Tisa Korean as well as Jody Fontaine from AG Club perform alongside her during her set. This set was important for two reasons. One being people were starting to put a name to a face as well as being drawn in by her friendly personality. And the other reason being that she met someone at the festival that year that would eventually get her noticed by a lot more people. That being none other than Lil Yachty and the Concrete Boys, who performed on the same stage later that day. For those of you who don't
Yo, the crazy thing about LA that a lot of people want to rag on is your ability to just meet and network with people. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that will tell you that networking is complete BS and it's a lie. To some extent it is. I guess it depends where you live, right? I mean, if you live in the middle of Ohio, what, you're going to walk around and try to meet Kid Cudi or LeBron James's mom to try to link a connect? Maybe, possibly, that could work, but and the stupid thing about LA is that it's a city that a lot of people dislike and it's really expensive. So you're kind of tossing up between, do I go to this super really expensive city, eat ramen noodles and hope that I run into the celebrity person that's going to help me unlock my future? There's a lot of questions there to bear and to take into consideration, but for some people it's worth it. If you're already an LA native, I guess you have the jump on the rest of us.
No, Concrete Boys is a hip-hop collective that was formed by Lil Yachty back in 2020, which originally consisted of 5 members, which was
And also, the Concrete Boys isn't Lil Yachty's first rap group that he started, okay? Lil Yachty started about one other rap group, 2, if I'm not mistaken, but one other rap group before this that completely fell apart and nobody wanted to do any work and nobody wanted to essentially climb the ladder of what it takes to be a celebrity or a strong rap group. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Of course, Lil Yachty himself, Draft Day, Camo, DC2 Trill, and Caribou. However, around the time they performed at Camp Flog Gnaw, Concrete Boys was in a bit of a rough patch, seeing as this was around the time they had dropped Caribou from the group after a very public beef between her and Lil Yachty.
Your brain is clinically imbalanced, bro. It's so crazy to me, bro, because I've given you a career, and time to time you just disrespect me. I wrote every fucking verse you've done, and you on here lying, talking about some we bully you?
But anyways, at the festival that year, Lil Yachty had approached Rio and decided he liked her vibe and wanted to be friends.
I met Yachty back in, at Flog Gnaw 2 years ago, and he kind of just came up to me and was like, you're cool, let's hang out. And I was like, sure.
And soon after they met, Lil Yachty would ask Rio to DJ for the Concrete Boys.
Started working together, and he asked me to DJ pretty soon after I met him.
Which is where, beyond just DJing for them, Rio would start working with the group behind the scenes on their upcoming projects. This eventually led to Rio being officially added into the Concrete Boys around 2025, alongside Lil Yachty's childhood friend, Trey Mitchell, aka Honest. being seen in the background of a lot of the interviews as well as music videos, as well as front and center on the album cover. And while she mostly keeps to herself during these appearances, she's managed to gain popularity in the online space via TikTok and Instagram, off of what I can only describe as sheer vibes and coolness, for lack of a better word. Enough so that she was able to sell out her first ever headline show.
Sheer vibes. What a time we live in where you can have a successful music career just by association and sheer vibes. Gen Z, you guys are cooked, bro.
Los Angeles. Before even announcing the special guests that would be performing as well. Lil Yachty, Concrete Boys, Eris the Planet, and Malcolm Todd. Currently though, Rio's got a tour with the Concrete Boys coming up, as well as possibly her own solo stuff she's working on, which Yachty kind of let slip in an interview.
But everyone's dropping. Yeah, no, I'm working though. Even Rio's dropping a project hopefully this year too. Are you gonna drop a compilation? Oh, cool. Never mind. She's not.
But that's essentially all we know so far, because like I said, there's not much information on her. It seemed a little random to me that she was added into the Concrete Boys, which is what made me look into her in the first place. Personally, I think she's a cool addition to the group, but I just hope they give her more to do, because at times it seems like she's just there and no one really acknowledges her, which
well, if she really wanted to be in the limelight, she'd be there. Okay, she's cute enough to be, right, off of sheer vibes, right? I guess that's what we can. Well, that's what deems success these days with you guys. Sheer vibes, cute. Everyone is essentially a simp, so sheer vibes, right? To be honest with you guys, I prefer Caribou. All right, that's just me. All right, next. Next, off of sheer vibes. Imagine someone saying, "Oh, I made my fuck." All right, so the replacement for I made my entire career off of sheer vibes. You guys are stupid. All right, hold on, China. We love China. We love China. China's good. We love China. China's good. We love China.
China's youth are staging one of the largest protests in the country.
We love China. Which one of these videos is getting more views? 1.5K or 351? 351. This is 1 day ago. This video is gonna tank. It's gonna peak. This video was from 7 days ago and it's still getting 1.5K. So this video's on the rise. All right, guys, we got the final 11 minutes here. Let's get into this next video. China. We love China.
Country's history, and they're doing it from their bedrooms. No working, no marriage, no kids. Just doing the bare minimum to survive. It's a massive silent rebellion against a broken system, and the Chinese government is absolutely terrified. Chinese experts estimate that excluding students, the youth unemployment rate could be as high as 46.5%. That's nearly half of China's youth refusing to or unable to get a job. This is a trend where people are simply choosing to stay home and live stress-free. So why is China's government deeply terrified by this movement and desperately trying to censor it?
So y'all are chilling at home with your parents, go off into work and stress and raising their cortisol levels just so you guys can eat noodle soup and play Nintendo Switch?
Because this movement has a very clear intention to force China's government to finally fix their broken system. The movement started in 2021 under the name of Tangping, which means laying flat. The movement started with a man named Luo Huazhong who made posts documenting his lifestyle. He was unemployed, ate 2 meals a day, and only worked a few days a year when he needed the money. And this post struck a
few days a year when he needed the money. I wonder what he wanted to do those few days a year where he really needed cash. That opens a bigger can of worms.
With millions, with many others sharing their minimalistic lifestyles online. Tangping was a movement that advocated for having low desire, low ambition, and rejecting consumerist mindsets. It didn't necessarily advocate for being unemployed, but rather a mindset of prioritizing one's own mental health over their boss or...
What are you guys talking about right now, dude? This is absolute hogwash. This is like, it's almost a W, but what? Come on.
Job or societal expectations. People who follow this ideology refuse to work overtime and will put off work from their bosses or ask to do it later. The Tangping movement started as a rejection of being a corporate slave, but as the movement grew...
I have nothing against making sure your mental health is in check. I have nothing against wanting to live a life of leisure, but you also have to put in some kind of action, bro. You can't be laying around doing nothing and expect something to change. I guess when this guy was doing it, he was just doing it because this is a lifestyle. And then everyone said, "Oh, let's band together and try to at least help China create a job market for the youth because there are no jobs." Hey, if China's going through it and they have no jobs, that's fine because the rest of the world is going through the exact same thing. The current job market here in Canada is absolutely cooked. So I get it. You know what? Youth of Canada, kids of Canada, you and I, we are the Goyim. Let's band together and let's also lay flat. Pause.
People started taking this ideology even further by completely refusing to get a job. This led to the rise of the ideology of Bailan, which is a more extreme version of Tangping. The term came from basketball slang, meaning we've already lost, so might as well just stop trying. Bailan's ideology is a rejection.
Bro, we've already lost. We might as well stop. Bro, these ideologies go completely against my lion fire tiger blood, bro. Ideologies of do whatever it takes to win. Our mentality when we were rich was get rich or die trying, dude. That was our young mentality. Now this new mentality is, oh, well, we're already losing, so we might as well stop trying. Come on, guys.
Of many things. Don't buy a house or apartment, don't get married or have children, don't pursue a career, and spend the bare minimum to survive. Because why put effort into these things if they're...
Where are you getting the money to spend the bare minimum? You need money to even spend the minimum. So how does this even make any sense?
Impossible, or involve trading away your freedom or mental health. An example of this is how 70,000 graduates in China with master degrees have become food delivery drivers. You know, like DoorDash, but in China. Imagine grinding day and night, going through 18 years of China's brutal school system, just to say this at the last minute because you'd rather deliver pizza on your bike. Many are refusing to get a job and instead becoming full-time children by staying home to cook and clean for their parents, to live with them and earn a salary from them. Many are even being called
Society is cooked, bro.
That's people. People who stay in their bedrooms, waking up late in the day, rotting in their bed, doom scrolling for hours, and rarely going outside. Now, Bailan doesn't mean...
Bro, that would just give you the nastiest bed sores, bro. Ew. First of all, if you've ever laid around anyway, try this. Lay around. Well, first of all, most of you are already trying it. Most of you are already doing it. So you're probably watching this video laying in bed like a loser somewhere. But for the rest of you who get a good rise of dopamine but actually achieving things in life, sit around in the house for 3 days just watching television or just watching stuff, and you will see that your brain will start to hurt. Your body will crave some kind of movement. You know, there's nothing better, as they always say, than a hard day's work.
Quitting working entirely, but rather working only when necessary. This involves low-maintenance jobs like being an online tutor, streamer, content creator, driver, trash collector, etc. And it involves working these jobs for very low hours to make just enough money to survive. Under this lifestyle, some can still afford their basic necessities, but others cannot. Which takes us to the most extreme levels of Tangping, because millions of Chinese people are literally choosing to become homeless, as they see it as a better fate than becoming a corporate slave. This involves sleeping in internet cafes, restaurants, tents, train stations, or even directly on the street.
Bro, no. This is too much. This takes the cake. This is what we call, this is a societal L.
Now, there's a lot more about Bailan that needs to be said, but first, I'd like to talk about today's sponsor, CyberGhost. You might think you're safe using incognito. Right now, you the video under 33 years old. If you don't understand just how insane that is, that's equivalent to the entire population of South Korea. And these aren't the addicted, crackhead homeless people we have in the US. These are sane, logical people who did the math and realized that being homeless is better than working and paying rent.
虽然不对，但是它舒适啊。那你赚钱不就是为了过得舒适吗？我发现躺着就挺舒适，那我为啥还要再去赚钱呢？
Now, on a surface level, these people might seem lazy or guilty of having a loser's mentality, giving up whenever things get hard. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The people who subscribe to the Tang...
Explain it to me then. Explain it to me. You got 2 minutes to explain it to me, because right now, the latter is true.
Ideology are actually very hardworking people, or at least they used to be. These are people who tried to make it in the system, who tried to create a good life for themselves by studying hard and going to college and finding a job. But the more they tried, the more they began to realize working harder does not mean attaining more happiness. Every year, the number...
Okay, that's true, yes. Working hard is a lie. You should never work hard. You should work efficiently. But at the start, you have to work hard to be able to work efficiently. You know, action times time equals result. Result times time, or result times investing equals freedom. You know, sorry, it's coming up with the formula on the spot really hurts my head. You know, maybe I should lay flat.
Number of college graduates increases in China, but the quantity of new jobs isn't increasing to match this pace. This creates a job market with fierce competition. And in a job market where millions of qualified applicants are competing for fewer positions, the competitive differentiator between applicants isn't about who has more skills or knowledge. It's about who's more willing to work extreme amounts of hours. This has led to a brutal work culture known as 996, rising in prominence in the last decade. Work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. Some employees spend so much time at the office that they end up sleeping there, having their entire lives revolve around their job. 996 is very common in China, with almost all the top tech and internet companies running by it. Millions of young Chinese individuals enter this workforce with the idea that hard work will bring them wealth and status. But the sad reality is, because so many applicants are willing to work extremely hard work is no longer a praiseworthy quality deserving of a promotion, but rather the norm that's expected out of every single employee. This reality has posed an existential question.
Oh, that's gonna definitely pose a problem for me. You think I'm working hard for anybody, bro? Come on, let's be real.
To China's youth. If running faster doesn't get you anywhere, then why run at all? China's youth was supposed to reap the rewards of their hard work. Their hard work was supposed to create a better world for them. But instead, their hard work has only helped the wealthy in China grow even wealthier, while life is only getting worse for the rest of the population. In 1978, the bottom 50% of China's population earned 27% of China's national income. Today, they earn only 15% of China's national income. Why? Because the wealthy elite are taking more of this income for themselves. Housing prices are sky high, while salaries have remained low. More and more workers are being laid off because they simply aren't needed anymore. Many companies are even decreasing their wages because they have so many workers readily available to them. This is the nation that the youth's hard work has created. So why continue working hard if their hard work will only contribute more to this inequality? Now, if this was any other country, the youth would have done the obvious thing: protest, rebel, speak out against this cruel system. In Western democracies, the youth can vote for the changes they want to see be done. But not in China. There's no voting in China. Any attempt of criticizing the system will result in getting censored. Public protests rarely go anywhere because they always get silenced by law enforcement and often end in violence. Because of this, China's youth really only has one option: Tongping, to lie flat and refuse to cooperate with this corrupt system. It's a non-violent, quiet, hidden protest with a message that speaks louder than any banner, riot, or march. If you don't fix the system, we're not working. And this movement is only growing larger and larger every year, with more people.
Check this out. If they manage to fix the system, right? If they manage to somehow completely, because this is what you essentially would call like, this is the equivalent of like a super peaceful protest, right? Because sorry, let me get my thoughts straight. The age differential in China right now is like an upside down triangle, right? The top big part is a bunch of old heads. The old heads are at the top. The new generation, they're small and they're on the bottom. But as the old class now out-ages themselves out of the workforce, there's not going to be enough people on the bottom to replace themselves. And also, first of all, these countries, especially like China and South Korea and stuff, are the replacement, the speed at which they're able to replace themselves is small because there's not enough people procreating already. So now the youth said, hey, we're not even going to work or do anything or somehow contribute to society. So this actually will cause a panic. So I do hope that their measures are able to actually help them and get rid of this this imbalance that exists in the current society, and that China decides to create more jobs for the youth and get rid of this 669 thing, you know. Shout out to Fetty Wap. But with that being said, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, you goyim, goy. And well, that ends it for me, I guess. That's the end of today's stream. I think we've done the bare minimum. We've done the bare minimum that I'm supposed to do. I've done it. So I can't be mad anymore. Can't be mad at myself. Alright, guys. Quick little update on what's been going on. Still sleeping on my brother's couch over there. Let's pull the mic out. I like getting, oh shit, I like getting nice in person with you guys. Okay, so still sleeping on the couch here, sleeping right there on the ground. Sorry, not on the ground, on the couch. That's cool. Don't mind that. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. There is a couch here, but there's also a bed right behind me. You see that blanket? You see this blanket? It's on a bed. There's literally a bed here beside the couch. It's a weird situation. I found it when I got here. Don't ask questions. So life update, the things that's going on right now is, yeah, we went to the labor place. We were going to the labor place since Monday. Wednesday, I got an opportunity to actually get a job. It was the worst job ever. It was picking up garbage at some homeless shelter. It's like, no, not a homeless shelter, like a homeless camp in the middle of, out in the boonies, out in the middle of the forest. These homeless people had collected all this garbage and they're building homes and there's syringes and just random stuff that homeless people like to have, bro. The most random stuff, from lawnmowers to inflatable pools. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me either. But that was the job. Got paid $116 from that after taxes. So it was about $20 an hour. Did about 6.5 hours. Yeah, that was our first one. Okay. So usually I'm a marketing guy, bro. So I was supposed to be in an office. The office jobs aren't hiring me at the moment. The job market is so competitive right now. We've had to essentially step out of our comfort zone. But I don't mind it. I don't mind getting a little bit dirty. Most people wouldn't get dirty to say, no, I have to be in an office. I have to wear a dress shirt. I have to wear a tie. Well, to you, I say, idiot. idiot to you. You should be willing to do whatever it takes to get out of a situation. You know, unlike the youth of China who are doing this whole flat lay or flat down or some sort of flat thing where they're essentially what do you call it, riding or, you know, against the Chinese government. What do you call it? Protest. The word is protest that I'm looking for. Yeah, so the life is all right now. Because I'm allowed to stay at my brother's place, I have a place to stay technically, but you know how it is with you staying at somewhere, you know, the building manager, the landlord is always going to start to get privy and start asking questions. So I try to lay low as much as possible. But today, and tell me if I'm wrong, but today I went into the building. There's the mat at the front of the building. My boots were muddy, and so I decided to stomp my boots on the mat, right? And then I left. And then he decides to come to the door and then be like, "Hey man, you gotta clean this up. Why is there dirt here?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's the rug of the front of the building. That's where you get rid of your dirt here, so you don't drag it across the whole building." And the man's decided to tell me, "No, it has to stay clean." Nigga, as if that's my job. You're the building manager. That's your fucking job. Your job is to clean that up. Nigga, that's you tell me to clean up. Now I'm cleaning up the fucking rug and the mat at the front of the entryway of the building, the rug area, because this nigga is now all of a sudden too much of a jackass to do his fucking job, dude. So then nigga raises my fucking cortisol and I'm fucking choked because if this nigga decides, "Oh, why is your brother staying with you, blah, 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 blah," then I get kicked out of the fucking building and I become essentially homeless. So my entire life now is in his fucking hands, and you guys know how I feel about people telling me what to do. I fucking can't stand it. Choked, bro. I don't like situations like this. I like to stay low key, and my plan is to stay as low key as possible, collect my money, and then get my own place. I don't know how long that's gonna take, but I'm trying my best to make sure it happens. Fuck, man. So yeah, we're gonna keep just grinding, making shit happen. But it's really stupid, bro. I hate having, in one hand, things rely on other people, but then on the other hand, I'm also trying to make my own way, and it's just like I'm too independent to just be sleeping on couches. It's one of those things where it's like I'm doing the best I can to be able to make sure that I can pave my own way. I like being able to put destiny in my own hands and make do for myself. I don't like getting handouts. Nobody likes it. Well, tell the children of China otherwise. They enjoy just laying around doing nothing. But anyway, that's the video today, guy. I don't want it to take too long. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video, I guess. All right, guys, that's the end of the fucking stream, you footies. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, maybe, depending on life situation, if I get whatever. You guys don't fucking care. I'm out of here.